So basically, what I want to talk to you today about is, when does a rebuild actually stop being a rebuild and start to be a reset? And Newcastle fans can accept change, we can accept losing players. But what the fans can't accept is a lack of direction from the football club. And the thing is that what we feel as fans at the moment? If you're new around here, I'm Adam. This is Two for Joy. Get down there, like, hype, subscribe, do all the good things. The comments have been great. I'm so glad you guys are getting involved. The subs have been fantastic. We're pushing our way to 2,000. I never thought it would grow as quickly as it has. But where I want to start is, what is the difference between a rebuild and a reset? And basically, a rebuild is, we already have an identity. We already have a system that we believe in. And we've lost a few players, and we're going to rebuild around that system in order to improve. And we're looking to bring in players that will better this squad or improve this system, and it will carry on working. And essentially, a reset is where a core identity of players have gone, and the squad's not left with the ability to carry on under the identity we already have. So we need to change. And that's currently where I feel we are. As fans, I think we're all in the camp of, we know we've lost the core identity of this squad. We've lost the spine. And it's going that way. But it very much looks like the club is telling us we want to reset, whilst playing like we want to rebuild. And that's where I'm lost with the direction for this. And what I'm saying is, are Newcastle rebuilding a squad, or are we quietly starting over again? Because essentially, the team that won us a trophy had a clear identity. We had a clear direction. We had players who bought into a philosophy. And we were heading in a good direction for, I'd say, a season and a half, probably 2 seasons. We played high-intensity, aggressive pressing football under Eddie Howe, with intensity is our identity. And the players bought in. And we achieved some great things we haven't seen for a lot of years at Newcastle. And I'll never take that away from Eddie Howe. But what I have to ask is, how many of those players are still buying into that ethos? After the changes we've seen in the squad, after we've seen key players leave, and can we honestly play that same style of football and expect it to work? Have we been found out by the Premier League? Have we seen enough now to know that teams know how to counteract this? They know how to low block us. They know how to shut us down. And we don't have the ability, even then, to beat the low block. We struggled in that style. And this really comes down to the key point, the main point, is replacing stars with potential. And buying young players isn't bad. I know the club has come out and said, essentially in a roundabout way, they want to adopt a Borussia Dortmund style business model where we buy potential, we sell experience and we buy potential, but they need time. Mistakes will happen. And we're replacing Premier League proven players with teenage stars that won't give us the same results immediately. And I'm okay with this. I'm not suggesting that this is a bad model to adopt. I'm just not sure that this is the model you should adopt whilst trying to play the same system that we have done under Eddie Howe for the last 4 years. And where this brings me to, and I think that we've spoken about this a lot as fans, is, does Eddie Howe need to adapt? I mean, firstly, does he need to adapt? Secondly, does he have the ability to adapt? And over the course of this pre-season, we will see whether Eddie Howe will deviate from this 4-3-3, the regimented high press, the high energy, his Howe ball, and whether we can realistically expect to see a different style of football now we have different style of players. does this system still fit the Premier League? Does this fit the purpose of the club? And does Eddie have the ability to reinvent himself and reinvent his style of football? And I think this is really key for where we head in future, because the club says they want to adopt this Dortmund model and buy young talent and develop players and increase values and build for the future, which is a great... I'm all on board for this style of model as a football club. I think it's a great model to adopt, but it's not a snap your fingers and do it overnight thing. This is a model that has taken Dortmund 10, 15 years to introduce this business model and for it to actually bear fruit. So realistically, Newcastle expecting to develop a Dortmund model over the space of 2-3 seasons and expect to get European football year on year and want to win trophies and develop as a football club, I think is an incredibly ambitious thing to do with what I feel is a real lack of experience in this business model. Obviously, we've brought in Ross Wilson. He's highlighted some key players, and I think the players we've brought in are very, very good. But the identity of these players, the model that Borussia Dortmund has bared fruit from, is buying players extremely low value from a very young age and developing them through their own youth system, which is a very different business model to us going out and spending 20, 30, 40 million on players we believe are at the age to become 70, 80, 90 million pound players, because not every one of those is going to come in and become a world-class superstar. Realistically, you're going to have mistakes along the way. And if Newcastle want to adopt this model, they need to be buying like your Kuba Minter at your 4, 5, 6, 7 million and bringing in volume of players in the way that Borussia Dortmund do and bringing them through the system. There's a real lack of bringing players through the system at Newcastle. Whether we'll see that this season, whether our system is fit for purpose, whether our under-21s are actually good enough is a totally different question. And right now that feels unclear. So kind of where I want to finish the conversation or have the conversation with you guys in the comments is this video is not really about Eddie Howe. This isn't a criticism of the young players. It's about the direction of the football club and whether we feel we're actually heading in a direction that's feasible to continue, or whether we're putting ourselves in a position where we're really going to struggle. And personally, I feel Newcastle have to keep hold of some experience in this squad and blend it with youth and experience throughout the team in order to establish ourselves over the next 12 months to 18 months before this model would really even start to bear fruit. But also, whether this system is the correct system for players to be playing in order to develop. Because realistically, I'm not sure us sticking with this intensity as our identity and playing this style of football is advantageous for the group of youngsters that we've brought in and for the football club to play under this sort of pressure over the next 2 seasons. I think we may well get drawn into a position where Newcastle miss out and leave ourselves as a very uninspiring position as a project or as a football club for players to want to come to, should we have a bad few seasons through trying to play the same style of football rather than reinvent ourselves. You have to move with the times. Like I say, let me know in the comments. Get involved. I think it's a really good topic of discussion. It's been great hearing from everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody for the likes, the hypes, the subs, the comments. The channel's growing way quicker than I ever thought it would, and I'm so pleased for it. I'm so pleased to have the conversations with you, but make sure you get down there and let me know your opinion on this, because I think we will start to see over the next 3 to 4 weeks whether we are reinventing as a football club, whether we are hitting reset and just tearing up the scrapbook and starting again, or whether Eddie Howe believes that we're just going to carry on and swap players in like for cheaper potential. Thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.